Early last year, I got out of a long-term relationship. 4 years of love, anger, fun, and all the little memories that came with, including me knowing that person almost perfectly. And I say almost because you never really know a person. And even when you do, sometimes you do whatever it takes to prove yourself wrong about them and that maybe they are an angel. At the same time, later that year, I found another girl I thought was a pretty good pick, misreading her words she used and leaving the situation rather ashamed of myself. Funnily enough, at the end of it all, I was getting back into bands I found from Grand Theft Auto 5, and going down the rabbit hole I found some tracks by Wavves, and I listened, hoping to find a hidden gem. And that's when I found it. Poor Lenore. Before I even get into Poor Lenore, I should get into the band, Wavves. You see, Wavves is a child of singer and songwriter Nathan Williams. The band and its initial concept was his baby. It was and still is an American rock band covering multiple subgenres such as indie, grunge, and punk, and many more. Formed in 2008 out of San Diego, Wavves released, as of now, 8 studio albums, not including the 2 collaboration albums with Rockstar Games under the name Welcome to Los Santos and Cloud Nothings, and the album No Life for Me. Amidst their main 8 albums, there lies an EP, which based on my findings was the first album released under Wavves' own label, Life Sucks. Having only 8 songs, 2 of which I've listened to so far, the 4th track, Poor Lenore, caught my interest. And I guess now's the time to tell you why. I'm not genius, and I don't claim to understand the reasons or meaning behind why lyrics are the way they are. The thing with music is that you sort of come up with your own interpretation. Take this for instance. The world's a liar. Foolish of me. It's real simple. The world, its people, its politics, etc., it's all a lie, or capable of lying. And the subject it lies to, whether it be Nathan, me, you, or even the spider in the corner of your room, are fools to believe the lies it tells. But when paired with the next 2 lines, it takes a whole new meaning, or a meaning is added to it. Misfortune fires. I'll only bleed. Bad luck has a habit of happening when we least expect it. Of course, we know it's gonna hurt. And when it does, what choice do you have but to accept it? Let's take my past relationships, for example. I believe my ex, or even the girl after them, would be what I wanted, but the unfortunate truth came out. My ex left me for someone worse, and the girl had a boyfriend the whole time. Bad luck came, and it hurt. But I could only accept it in silence. I'll only bleed. Something interesting happens in the next 4 lines. Another burden, another memory. Just keep my mouth shut. I won't say a thing for mine. So obviously, Nathan, or his character, could just be stating his life has numerous shortcomings or bad times, but he'll keep it to himself for a reason he hasn't said yet. Funnily enough, if you're listening to it the first time like I did, you'll mishear I'll only bleed as I'll only be, which leads into the next part. I'll only be another burden, another memory. This misunderstanding still managed to resonate with me, because rather than seeing the fault of others, I place blame for the breakups and the heartbreaks on myself. And to see my ex move on like I meant nothing, and for the girl I liked to stop talking to me, all I felt was the fact that maybe I'm just a phase in people's lives. As if that's my only purpose in this life. The next line gives us Nathan's reason for keeping his mouth shut, or downplaying the character's pain. Poor Lenore. We don't really know who Lenore is, other than she must represent a significant other, or a friend, or honestly, anyone in this character's life. I feel like this is the case because in toxic relationships, at least from my experience, There's always that person that truly believes their issues are the worst in the world compared to other people, inconsiderate and blind to how good they still have it. It's also the fact that Nathan chooses to put poor Lenore as opposed to any other word to describe her. Poor as in he kind of pities her. In the same way I humble myself, yet pity those girls I loved. It faults and falls down, devil in me, an easy rider, sharp young athlete. I didn't understand the first half at first. Yes, it breaks and collapses, but what does? How does it relate to a devil within? When I think of myself, I think of my heart, maybe, or even my mental state or my morals. How through my time spent loving someone it all broke, and I just became a nastier version of myself. One that I hated seeing in others, making me a hypocrite. Of course, it could mean the opposite. Perhaps the harshness and rough exterior of Nathan's character, possibly being an athlete, breaks in the wake of Lenore. Her existence causes his character to crumble and weaken before her. Though I don't necessarily relate to the athlete line. I've only recently gotten into soccer. The girls that I've been with have been more athletic in the past compared to me. Again, he repeats these lines. Another burden, another memory. Just keep my mouth shut. I won't say a thing for mine. And then the hook changes. Poor Lenore. Poor Lenore. So insecure. Poor Lenore. We learn a bit more about Lenore. She's someone to Nathan's character, someone whose feelings supposedly matter more. The way she carries herself breaks Nathan's character until he's a worse version of himself, either through morals or conviction. He sees her as insecure. But there's a possibility I may be wrong. As the song progresses, we get a lengthy solo, performed by the rhythm guitar as it turns the previous lines into the melody. If you listen to the song at this point, the guitar part that usually plays during the hook switches and now has lyrics. Night terrors won't leave me alone. They won't leave me alone. Although I'd love to walk you home, they won't leave me alone. Though, if someone is this toxic to you, why would you want to walk them home? Now, my ideas on this one is kind of shattered. Because on one hand, Lenore is a manipulative and toxic girl, causing Nathan's character to fall apart. And on the other hand, maybe Nathan is the insecure one, bothered by his pain in the past and not wanting to mess up this time with the girl of his dreams. He downplays everything. His pain, his sadness, his doubts, he downplays it all just for her, thinking she's the one in need of help. Her problems mean more to him, and he stays up every night hurting, wondering if he's being a good partner, the heartbreak and doubt consuming him. Just like me. The song continues on, as both versions of the hook play alongside each other until the song ends. Poor Lenore is a song telling of a two-way street. On one hand, it's a story of a toxic girlfriend that the main character breaks himself for. On the other, it's a sort of rebound-esque relationship, where the main character's trauma with relationships in the past and fear of failure causes him to put his new girl on a pedestal she didn't ask for. Or it could be both. I just know that I've been in both scenarios. And hearing this song and knowing that there's a possibility that I'm not alone in my confusion and feelings has helped me think and move on with a bit more confidence. Understanding that I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Because I did what I could.